Hello everyone, as you can probably see I've got a brand new setup, I've got a new camera and I'm hopefully going to get started back into the swing of things as often as I can, no promises. I also have obviously a new channel, so welcome and thank you for coming and thank you for checking it out and everything else. So I'm just going to get straight to it. The tutorial today is for this kind of matte brown black kind of smoky eye. When I start the video I have already used La Roche-Posay Effaclar Matte as a primer, Vichy Derma Blend foundation in the shade 15 Opal. I've used a little bit of Kat Von D Locka foundation in the lightest shade. I use this kind of as a concealer and just kind of like as a highlight along the tops of my cheekbones before I powder. And then I powdered with Vichy Derma Blend setting powder as well. So when I start the tutorial that's all I have on and I'll show you how to do everything else. If you want a full list of all the products that I used, reviews of the different products and things like that, then go to my website, that's glamournazi.com, and I will link below. And thank you for checking out my video and I hope you enjoy it. It might seem like quite an odd place to start, but I'm going to start off with curling my eyelashes. And I like to do this before I start my makeup because sometimes I find that pressing the eyelash curler against your lid can kind of mess up any eyeliner or eyeshadow that you've already done. More so if you're using a cream or a liquid product or something, but just I've gotten into the habit of doing it first now. What I did was I put foundation and powder over my lid and that's going to act as a base. I would only do this if I was only using powder eyeshadows. If I was using a cream product I wouldn't do this because the cream won't work very well over the powder, but powder eyeshadows work well over powder, so we're okay. What I'm going to use is this Illamasqua palette here. This is the neutral palette, so it's got just obviously neutral colours in it, but there's loads of other things like MAC do all these colours. I got the MUA Undressed palette and that's got similar shades in it. I'm going to actually use a little bit of this as well. Sorry. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a flat brush. This is the e.l.f. Big C brush here, and I'm going to take just the white and I'm going to put this all over. It's kind of an off-white matte colour. I was really impressed with the pigmentation of this because I've used some Illamasqua eyeshadows before and I was really unimpressed, but they're really upping their game and they're taking away all of the products that aren't working and bringing out new ones that are better. So it's always good to see a company that are working hard and not just going, alright, these are our eyeshadows, they're crap, who cares. So I'm literally putting it from my lashes all the way up to my brow, everywhere in between, and definitely focusing on this inner corner in here to really brighten it up. And I like to sweep a little bit underneath the eye as well, just because I find that it can kind of crease there a little bit. My foundation will crease there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch the MUA palette, which this is my first time using MUA Cosmetics. I recently purchased this just before Christmas and I'm so impressed with the pigmentation, and this palette is £4 sterling on the website, so it's so cheap as well for 12 colours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a MAC 217 and I'm going to take this colour here. So it's very similar to MAC's Omega. If you don't have this, you could try that. And with my 217, I'm just going to put this in the crease. Well, I really like the Illamasqua palette. The four colours work really well together. It's a cream, a brown, a black and a gold. I do feel it needs kind of a transition colour like this because it's a very dark brown, and just to blend it into a lighter brown just gives it a nicer transition, which is why I'm using this. So what I like to do is, as well as just working this into the crease, I bring it up to the eyebrow in this inner corner. Now this will all depend on your eye shape. If you don't have the same eye shape as me, you probably won't be able to do it. But I like to bring it up to the brow and then bring it out, just leaving this gap here underneath the arch of the brow. I don't know if you can see very well because this is quite a subtle colour. But what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take the So this is the one I just used, and I'm going to move across and take this one, which is just a slightly darker version of it. And I'm going to really focus that in the crease, not going as high up as I did with the first colour. And this really just shapes the eye. And you could do this step before you did any eyeshadow look, any colour you're using. If you've got this kind of transition in the crease, this definition, it'll make blending it out a lot easier and it'll look a lot smoother. Eyeshadow is not meant to be like harsh lines where the eyeshadow ends. It's all meant to kind of be a gradient. And I'm going to take a little bit of that just underneath the eye as well. The same brush. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the brown from the palette, which is obviously this one up here, and I'm going to use, this is a brush from Nema Brush. So this is a new Irish makeup line, or a makeup brush line even, and it's kind of similar to a MAC 217, but it's a little bit rounder or something. I'll show you here. That MAC 217 is actually a little bit short, but I don't know, I don't have another brush like this, and I know people are probably shouting the MAC 224 or something, but it's not anything like that, so it's quite an original one. I'll leave a link down below to where you can get those brushes anyway. So I'm going to take just a little bit of the brown colour and I'm going to pop that right in the socket. Now what we're going to do is we're going to build this up really slowly, so you only need a little bit at a time. Right the way along the crease. See, this is just the perfect size brush for the crease. I'm loving this brush. The only thing about these brushes is they don't have names on them, so I can't just tell you what the name of this brush is or what the number of it is. It just comes in a big 12-piece set that I got for my birthday. And you can just lightly bring this back and forth until it builds up to the kind of strength of colour that you're looking for. And this kind of buffs the colour out, diffuses it as you go as well, so it is kind of like a 217 in that respect. You could use a 217 for this if you don't have this brush. So once I kind of get the depth of colour, I'm going to go back in with the 217 and just buff out the edges. Make sure it's still really, really soft. And again, I'm going to buff a little bit of that just underneath the eye as well. I'm going to just skip ahead and do my eyebrows now because they really contribute a lot to how dark you want to go with your eyes. If you haven't done your eyebrows yet, it can be hard to tell where you're going. So I'm going to just take, this is 329 from Inglot, and it's just a really dark matte brown. The one in the Illamasqua palette is a little bit warmer, which is why I wouldn't use that, just because I have black hair. If you've got warm brown hair, obviously you could use it. I'm just using a MAC 266. Now I like my eyebrows really defined. I know it's not to everybody's taste, but I just think that that's what suits me best. So obviously you do whatever you want to do with your brows. So now that I've done that, my eyes look a lot more framed now that I have eyebrows. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the black in this palette, which is actually a very black. I believe it's called Obsidian. You can buy it separately, you don't have to buy this whole palette. I think all the colours are available separately, or at least some of them are. But the black anyway, I'm going to take, this is a MAC 239, so it's just the flat shader brush. Take a little bit of the black. And I'm going to draw it in a line as if nearly you were doing an eyeliner flick. Just like that. And then I'm going to bring it into the crease. Just on the outer corner. And now I'm going to use the same brush and I'm going to work it into the eye. So just very slightly tapping it or kind of dragging it across. You can go back in with your 217 and buff out the edges of that as well using the brown. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same brush and just put the very tip of it in the black, and we're going to drag this underneath the eyes. Then I'm going to go in with my Max Factor Liquid Effect Pencil, this in the colour Black Fire, and I absolutely love this because it lasts really well on the waterline, which is obviously something that's really hard to find in an eyeliner pencil. I'm going to take this as an Isadora Flex Tip eyeliner, so it's just one of those eyeliner markers, and I'm going to draw in along my top lash line. And I'm going to do a flick at the end. So the best thing to do here is to look at your bottom waterline here and follow it upwards, and that's the direction that you want to put your flick in. And then you can connect it back. Now I'm taking my Max Factor False Lash Effect mascara. I have been loving this recently. I kind of picked it up by chance and it's amazing. So I like to do the top of the lashes and then up and then the bottom lashes. So that's basically the eyes done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Sleek contour kit. Looks like this, sorry. And I'm going to take obviously the contour side, and this is a Blank Canvas Cosmetics F23 brush, so it's like a pointed brush, cheek brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work this just under my cheekbone there. And this brush is really soft, so as you put it on you can kind of blend it at the same time. I'm going to just work that up onto the temples as well. And up onto the forehead. I'm going to use a Sleek blush as well. So this is a Sleek Blush by 3 palette. And this palette is called Lace. So these colours look really, really extreme here. But if you use them sparingly, they're really, really nice. So I'm going to use the first colour, which is kind of this peachy colour. Peachy one here. And this is another Nema brush. This is a blush brush. I think it's very similar to the MAC blush brush, which I don't have, so I don't know what number it is, and I can't show you to compare. But it's just like perfect size, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to take a little bit of that, and then I'm going to pat it off on my hand like that so that I don't get crazy clown cheeks. And I'm going to work this just over where we put the bronzer. So we want this to go along the cheekbone, because then when you look at me it's like an optical illusion that pulls my face back and pulls your eye back. If you just put stuff in the apples of your cheeks here, it's not as flattering, let's say. To finish it off, I'm going to just add some highlighter to the tops of my cheekbones. So this is an Inglot highlighter. It's number 59. There only is one white highlighter, but for some reason it does have a number. And this is my favourite highlighter of all time. I'm just using the smaller blush brush again and just sweeping this up the cheekbones. And for the lips then, I'm just going to use, this is just a random brown lip pencil that I have. It's just a cheap one. Things like pencils, I don't really think you have to splash out so much money on, because cheap brands can be just as good as expensive brands. So I'm just going to use this to outline my lips. And then I'm going to use Revlon Lip Butter. This is in the shade Creme Brulee, and this is one of my favourite shades. It's just like a creamy nude kind of colour. So that is the final look. Thank you everybody for watching, and just a reminder that you can check out all the links below at glamournazi.com for all the products and reviews and everything else. So thank you for watching.